Hey, you guys. Okay, I'm back again, and today we're talking about sinful desires. And to unpack sinful desires, we first have to define what sin is. Okay? Definition for sin is an immoral act considered to be a transgression against divine law, a sin in the eyes of God. An example of a sin is murder or rape. There is one unforgivable sin, and that's blaspheming against God. Okay? And to give in to your sinful desires, whatever your sin may be, is what we will be discussing. Giving into your sinful desire and how to resist through Yahshua. We must first establish that we all fall short and are subject to sin. Then we have to be willing to let the Holy Spirit help us in those areas. So that's the first thing we got to really establish, that we all fall short. So we all sin. So establish that in your mind right now, that we all sin. And we're going to talk about how to resist sinful desires. And we're going to start out in 2 Timothy 2:22. Now flee from useful lusts and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace with those who call on the Lord from a pure heart. And this lets you know, if you call on the Lord from a pure heart, He will give you the ability to flee from your sinful desires. And only through the Lord are you going to be able to flee from your sinful desires. You can't do it on your own, so don't think you can. And the second one is James 1:14. But each one is tempted when he is carried away and enticed by his own lust. When we are tempted, we are carried away and enticed by our own lust and sinful desire. So when the enemy comes along and he entices us and try and tempt us, we are only enticed on our own lust and what we lust for. Like if you got love men and you lust for men all the time, that's what he's gonna entice you with, the men. But if you love money and money is your weakness, he gonna entice you with the money. So he entices by our own lust, whatever we're lusting for. That's what he entices us by. In James 1:15, then when lust has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and when sin is accomplished, it brings forth death. Ooh, sorry, you turn it off for me. When we lust over something, it gives birth to sin, and we give into our sinful desires. So that's letting you know, okay, when you start lusting. And then once you start lusting and you give into your lust, then it gives birth to sin. Okay, you don't lust, not for the thing. Now you're finna give birth to the sin. And when you give into your sinful desires, then the sin leads you to death. So that's why it's so important for us to get God to help us with those lusts and all those sinful desires that we have. Turn it down a little bit. When it ain't boiling over. And Proverbs 21:10, the soul of the wicked desires evil, his neighbor finds no favor in his eyes. And it's that, if your soul is wicked, you will desire to fulfill your sinful desires and find no favor in God's eyesight. So it's letting you know, if you're wicked, you're not going to even try and get over the sinful desire. So you're not going to find favor in God's eyesight, period. So the summary of this is, so we have to flee from our sinful desires with the help of the Holy Spirit so we can spend eternity with Him. So that, it was short and sweet, straight to the point. How to resist your sinful desires is to call on the Lord and ask Him to help you with those things. First, acknowledge them, because sometimes we don't even acknowledge them. So acknowledge them. Ask Lord to help you with them. Let them flee from you. That's it. Well, I really hope I help someone. I really do. And you need to remember, the only sin that He do not forgive you for is blasphemy. And that's blaspheming the Holy Spirit. And with that, you're saying He ain't who He is and He can't do what He is, and just you blaspheming against who He is, period. So that's unforgivable. All that other stuff is forgivable. So just seek Him and ask Him to help you. That's all we can do. And that's it. I'll be back with you next week. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next week.